Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Orange. Before we begin, I want to thank you all so much for the support on my last video. I genuinely never expected this many people to like my content, so I'm incredibly grateful and also incredibly shy right now. In today's episode, I'll be continuing our journey through the Humblow region. For all the new people who haven't seen any of my Pokemon Orange videos yet, the Humblow region is a region based on the Netherlands and the wider Benelux region as a whole. So it will have Pokemon based on Dutch culture and history. If you remember in the last episodes of Pokemon Orange, I showed you all the early staples of the Humblow region. The regional rodent, bird and bug. Today, I'll be making more Pokemon that you can find in the early game. And more importantly, we'll be encountering the Humblow region's very own pikaclone. So without further ado, let's dig in, shall we? Oh wait! One more thing. I just recently hit 100 subscribers, and I wanna celebrate this with a special video. I want you all to send me your ideas for Fakemon. Any idea will do. Want a sausage worm Pokemon? BAM! A cool legendary Pokemon inspired by the Renaissance, pseudoscience, war and mankind attempting to play God? I got you, Chief. Want a Mega Evolution or a regional form? Ask away. I'll choose up to 6 of my favorite ideas and turn them into Fakemon. So if you want to be part of this, be sure to comment below any ideas you may have. Or you can also go to my Instagram, Gary the Mothman, and send me your ideas over there too. I'll pick one Pokemon per person, but feel free to send as many ideas as you want. Okay, now without further ado, let's dig in, shall we? A common staple of early route Pokemon is the dog Pokemon. Lillipup, Yamper, Fido, etc. So I wanted the Humblow region to have a dog Pokemon as well. Excluding the USA and Japan, the biggest nation in terms of comic books is arguably Belgium, especially in cultural impact. The Smurfs being an obvious example of this, but one of Belgium's most beloved comic book series is The Adventures of Tintin. Now, as a kid, I grew up reading Jommeke and Suske and Wiske, more than I did reading Tintin. But it's undeniable how big this series is. I mean, they don't have an amazing animated movie, do they? Let me rephrase that. They don't have an amazing animated movie by Steven Spielberg, do they? The Adventures of Tintin is about a Belgian reporter and his dog uncovering all kinds of crimes all across the world. So I'll be taking inspiration from Tintin's dog, Snowy. I gave him a bushy mustache since Snowy is a fox terrier, and because I wanted a secondary inspiration of a detective. Tintin's most defining attribute is his little hair crest. In Dutch, his name is even Kuifje, which means crest. So I'll add that design element too. Lastly, I erased its leg, so that it looked like it was taking a big step, and showing its paw as a reference to paw prints or footprints. I opened the door into his office. Sitting in that swivel chair sat the man I had been looking for, with a face that screamed business. Pupo. From Pup and Popo, which is slang for police.
Pupo, the seeker Pokemon. With its well-developed nose, it sniffs out food and valuable items. Its strong loyalty make it popular with police agents. It starred in a world-famous comic book series where it and its trainer solved crimes all over the world.
It has the abilities Stakeout and a new ability called Treasure Seeker. When using the Go feature, which will be returning in Gen 10 I assume, Pupo will occasionally dig up important items such as potions, pokeballs, or sometimes even something like rare candies. Pupo also has the hidden ability Scrappy. Okay, I have to say it. He's such a good boy! When I sketched him out at first, I was scared he'd resemble Lillipup too much, or be too uninteresting. But I'm glad I kept with the design, because it ended up so adorable. Now, you wanna see its evolution? It's a long story, and not pretty. For Pupo's evolution, I wanted to lean much more into the detective side of the design. I turned the crest into an exaggerated shape of a detective's head, and gave it a hunched over pose. Speaking of this pose, I decided to make it anthropomorphic. Sorry. This goes back to my second ever video in which I evolved my starters. I spoke about how it's important to have varied designs in a region. You can't have them all be humanoids, and you also can't have them all be monsters. Not everyone will like every Pokemon, but every Pokemon has someone who likes it. That being said though, it will also be able to walk on all fours as well, being able to switch stance. That's what I tried to convey with the design and its pose, and I hope I succeeded in that, as a sort of compromise for the people who don't like the furry Pokemon. One detail I wanted to mention with Pupo and its evolution is the circle around the left eye. It's supposed to convey the image of a spyglass, and also those spyglass pranks people pull that leaves a black circle around your eye. Because, you know, Derritect won't be the cleverest of Pokemon. Don't worry, Derritect is on the case. Derritect, from Terrier, Detective, and Detect.
Derritect, the Seeker Pokemon. It has a heated rivalry with Evil, which constantly manage to outsmart it. Farmers use this Pokemon to hunt pesky Evil. Derritect was used to track down and hunt Evil. They tracked them down with ease. Apprehending them was a problem though.
It has the abilities Stakeout and Treasure Seeker, and the hidden ability Scrappy. Blistering blue barnacles. I hope the comments don't roast me for this guy. I swear I'm not a furry, guys, I promise. Oh, what was that? Oh, Pupo! How are the viewers supposed to like and subscribe now? I'll clean that up later. First, I'm gonna wrap up this video. Next up is the long-awaited Pikachu clone. For the Humblow region's Pikaclone, I wanted to do something different than usual. We tend to get boring single-stage rodents usually, so I want to change this up a little. For my inspiration, I went with a mole. I like moles. They're cute, kinda ugly, and very goofy little creatures that burrow tunnels and ruin yards. Definitely not the standard inspiration for a Pikaclone. But the real reason I chose a mole is because of the interesting type combination of ground and electric. Electrical grounding, also known as earthing, is commonly used to provide safety during short-circuiting. Now, I'm absolutely no electrical engineer, so I don't know what the heck is going on here, but from what I understand, a safety line is installed which redirects excess electricity into the ground, preventing it from causing injuries or fire. So my mole Pokemon will take inspiration from grounding wires, as well as wires in general. The tunnels it borrows will work exactly like electrical wires, connecting two different places and sending electricity from one side to the other. The whiskers on its little snoot end with a star pattern, to resemble electrical sparks. And I also gave it a star pattern on its face for the exact same reason. This is Zapurro. which comes from Zapu, which means zap in Japanese, and Horu, which means dig, also in Japanese, because most Pikachu clones derive their names from Japanese, which I probably extremely butchered there.
Zapurro, the electric mole Pokemon. They burrow tunnels into the ground, through which a strong electric current flows. These currents help it navigate the dark tunnels. With the hairs on its nose and cheeks, it senses using electroreception. Zapurro are almost completely blind.
It has the abilities Sand Force, Static, and the hidden ability Electric Surge. I hope you guys think he's cute enough to be a pikaclone. I know he's a bit unconventional and ugly, but I like to think there's a charm to that. And I hope he stands out from the crowd in a good way. Don't go yet though. I still have a few more surprises in store for you. In Generation 9, Game Freak shocked us all with their newest pikaclone, Palmy, who could evolve. Though, seeing as you probably didn't realize I'm showing you all Hallo instead of Palmy, I think it's clear to see that these evolutions were a bit boring. They didn't diverge much from each other, sadly, and I think there's a lot of missed potential with them. But this video isn't about them. That's right. I'm giving little Zapurro an evolution. I want him to have the same vibes as Raichu. Make him a little bit cooler, but still give him that cute charm. He gets big, meaty claws, and his electric cheek pouches now have the shapes of stars. The tip of his nose now has a messy cluster of whiskers thanks to the large amount of electricity it has built up. This cluster both once again resembles a spark, but also the star-nosed mole, one of Mother Nature's ugliest animals. Just like me. This Pokemon is completely blind, and instead uses these whiskers to sense electric fields around it. This is called electroreception. You may have heard already that sharks can use electroreception to find and chase prey. However, plenty of other fish and underwater creatures can use it too. And here we have Zaburrow, from Zapu and burrow, as well as Hokuro, which is the Japanese word for mole. I'm so sorry guys, I can't even pronounce English, so please do not expect me to pronounce Japanese correctly as well.
Zaburrow, the electric mole Pokemon. It burrows below ground to sense the electric fields of other Pokemon, to detect and track its favorite food, Wirme. It's completely blind, yet its other senses allow it for greater awareness of the world around it than even some psychic types.
It has the abilities Sand Force and Static, and the hidden ability Electric Surge, just like its pre-evolution. I really like him. In my opinion, he's a way better evolution than Palmo and Palmot ever were. Though, I'll of course let you guys be the judge of that. Keen-eyed viewers may have noticed something strange in the text entry. I mentioned some sort of food called worm. Well, yes, dear viewer. I have one more Pokemon I want to show you all. While I was coming up and sketching out the designs of Zapurro and Zaburrow, I was suddenly hit with a spark of inspiration. A mole's favorite snack is a worm. And I was already making an electric type mole based on electrical wirings and earthing. So, when the image of an electric wire worm popped in my head, I had to draw that. Worm will be made up of two segments, the main wire body and a second wire wrapped around it, serving as its arms. This is a clever little reference to my cable cabinets. The golden parts on its body are the insides of cables, which tend to be filled with gold and copper. These are materials that conduct energy, in contrast to the ground type, Zaburrow, which completely resists electricity. Its colors would be red and blue, which are the colors most often used to depict positive and negative charge. Worming its way into this video, we have Wirme, from Wire and Worm.
Wirme, the wire Pokemon. During thunderstorms, they can be found in droves. Large numbers of them clump together and get tangled up. They are wrapped around each other and exchange electric currents to power up. A small jumble of them contain enough energy to knock out a Paparaja.
It has the ability Lightning Rod and a brand new ability called Current Control. Current Control absorbs all electric type attacks used during a turn by friend or foe, and redirects them at whichever Pokemon Wirme is targeting that turn. Now, truth be told, I just thought the name Current Control sounded cool, and I don't think it's very balanced, but yeah, it's probably going to be very broken or very useless. Oh, also, it has the hidden ability Regenerator. Sometimes, all a man needs to be happy is a silly little wire worm. Wirme is the final piece I need to feel truly complete in my life. And now, I can finally die happy. Every new video about Pokemon Orange, I'll be adding the new Pokemon to these decks, so you can have a clean overlook of all the Pokemon in the region. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to let me know in the comments what you think of these 5 beautiful Pokemon that I made today, and tell me which is your favorite. The next video will be the 100 subscriber special, so be there or be square. And have another wonderful day. I've been Gary the Muffin. Gonna catch me later.